Well, hello, this is Rochelle and welcome to my channel. Today I'm continuing in the Faith Decks box that I've got for this printable by his palette. The printable is called Knowledge and I just seriously love this girl. She looks so classy and wise and I just think that it's super cute. So I'm just taking two pieces of paper. This is a 160 GSM project board paper, and I am sticking them together so that they're a bit stronger even, and then just outlining the stencil that comes with this Faith Decks by Room 5 graphics and cutting out the size of the Faith Decks that I want. You do get punches for these in the States, I believe, and some places in South Africa have sold them, but they are sold out for the most. So yeah, linking them will be a bit of a problem, which is why I kind of love this stencil. It does take a bit longer to cut other than punch, but so be it. Gives me time to think about the things that I'm doing. I do apologize for the ring light that is reflecting on this piece of acetate. I do use that to mix with, and for today I'm going to be doing a bit of a resist on this card. So I'm going to use gel medium through this Room 5 Graphics mini stencil, and I'm going to use the gel medium through it and then let the gel medium set and dry, and then I'm going to brush with a foundation makeup brush Gelatos through it in order to then create that resist. So the gel medium, where it dries, will resist the Gelatos or the blending of the Gelatos onto it. I'm using an acrylic silicone brush to stencil through my stencil. I like these brushes for this technique. I think it gets into the fine lines a bit better, so I'm going to use that. Firstly, I'm just going to kind of measure the height of the card that I want. I did cut it a bit bigger, and I want it to be the same size as the other ones that I've done, so just cutting it down to size. Like I said, this box, Faith Decks box, comes with a stencil for cutting your own little cards, and then also it comes with a few chipboard kind of cards that is already cut and fit into the box that you can then use for like dividers if you want to do a few different companies of it. So I'm just using Dala Gel Medium through my stencil. Do remember that when you work with any mediums on your stencil, be it texture paste or gel medium, whatever, that you want to clean these stencils as soon as possible so it doesn't dry into those fine lines, which will then affect your crispness of your stencil when you use it the next time. So putting on the gel medium and then just wiping off my silicone brush. It's the other reason why the silicone brush is quite nice to use, because it kind of doesn't let the mediums cling to it or stick to it, so it's easy to clean. I am going to just go wash my stencil and dry the gel medium, or it would be best to cure it actually overnight, but I don't have time for that, so I'm just using my heat tool to dry it. And I've washed my stencil, and I'm back with the Gelatos, scribbling it on that acetate sheet, which I then pick up with a foundation contour brush, and there you can see that the places where the gel medium has dried kind of resists the Gelatos, and I love the look of it. The texture is just so fun, and the feel, I think I'm going to do it with everything. I'm loving the gel medium resist. Used to do this a while ago and kind of haven't for a while, so lots of fun. Then I am going to stencil on this the back of this card using then the negative or the different stenciling. So now I'm using the actual stencil to create the pattern with the Gelatos. It won't resist this, it will bring out the color in the pattern of this specific stencil. So same technique, using the foundation makeup contour brush thing, but two different looks and feels. Like I said, I love the texture and the resist technique, and I just am showing you how you can use your Gelatos in different ways through stencils. Okay, so I'm going to stick on that little printable. Firstly, I'm just going to cut out the fine details so that it's not white background, but that you can actually see the background that I've just created through these little fingers and hands, etc., etc. And you don't have to watch me do all of that. So yeah, I'm going to make a few tabs using a similar technique with the same stencil. This time I'm scribbling the gelatos directly onto the paper. Then I'm taking a wet wipe and that same stencil. First I'm going to clean the brown gelatos off. I use the peppercorn directly onto the paper here, so I don't want to have the brown kind of mixed with peppercorn. So just cleaning it properly and drying it, and then taking the same wet wipe and picking up the color through the stencil. So again, this is another way to use your stencils with your gelatos. Scribble the pigment onto the paper, then pick up the pigment with a wet wipe. So letting that dry, and then just grabbing my circle punch. I'm going to use circles for my tags or tabs for this specific printable. Putting on my Tombow Multiliquid glue. This is my favorite glue to use. It just sticks and sticks and sticks for the longest time, so it works well. And then I'm going to be just cutting where the printable went over those little indents for the Faith Decks box. Again, you don't necessarily have to watch me cut this. And then next up, I'll stick down my tabs, the round tabs that I'm using. So you only stick one side and then stick the other side on top of that one side. Also doing some splatters for that negative piece that I did, or the other side of this Dex card. And then I'm going to be stamping with my VersaFine Clear ink. This ink gives a very crisp impression, and I'm using some alphas by Studio Light. I love these typewriter alphas, they're just super cute. And I'm using a small enough block so that I don't get ink all around on the acrylic block, which can then mess up your stamping. I am stamping from the back for the word understanding, so that I'm sure that there's enough space, and kind of halfway through I'm figuring out that I'm going to have to do it over 2 lines, and that's okay. This chamois that I'm cleaning my stamps off on afterwards is just a lawn fawn stamp chamois. You can use a car chamois, cut it into smaller piece and just wet it and clean your stamps like that. It's much better than using a wet wipe or using any kind of soapy water on your stamps, just because they make them kind of jelly-ish and not quite as crisp. Then using my Tombow pen to just write in the rest of the verse, which is in Proverbs 12 verse 4, and it speaks of seeking wisdom, getting wisdom, seeking understanding, and in all you're getting, get knowledge. So there you go. And that is my little card for today. I am gonna just fill in the little, like I feel that there's some white spaces, so just cutting another circle tag with that punch of mine from the paper that I created with the wet wipes, and then just putting them in the random spots on this little piece. Stamped out my date, everything's ready for my Faith Decks to go into my Faith box, and I am loving it. Thank you, His Palette, for such a cute printable. It made me think of this verse, and there we go. Sorry, that's Proverbs 4 verse 7, not 12 verse 4. Thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Bye-bye.